Well, welcome to Hamilton. My name is Monk Rowe, and I'm pleased to have Michi Fuji here today
Hi.
on the campus. And I enjoyed your playing a lot last night.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Some student asked you a question I probably was going to ask, and why did you come to the United States? And you simply said, I wanted to learn jazz.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it, you know.
You couldn't stay in Japan and learn jazz then.
I can learn jazz in Japan, but jazz in Japan is not original. Jazz is original in America, New York, and New Orleans, not Japan, right?
Okay.
So,
Someone was speaking about jazz in Japan recently, and they said it was very much connected with style, and like it was a hip thing to go here or something like that. Does that make sense?
yeah. People not really strict to study bebop or swing. They try to learn more modern things and more new jazz. But I moved to New York. I'm gonna have to learn more bebop and swing and blues. Yeah.
But I bet you started at a young age on the violin,
Yeah.
playing classical music.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you do any of was it pretty much with a teacher and learning to read music? Yeah.
Yes.
Did you feel like you wanted to be a musician from that age? Was this something that you felt driven to do? Or you said something about there wasn't anything to do, so I played my violin.
Right.
What
I
does
was
that mean?
when I was kids, maybe I liked the violin. If going to elementary school, they getting more busy with study or homework. But in the kindergarten, not that much homework. I think just I had a time to play the violin a lot, so just play. I think.
I'm not sure how to ask this question, but with YouTubes and people see all this information, sometimes we'll see YouTubes of very small children in Japan or South Korea, and they're playing this incredible, at this incredible level. We don't see it that much from American children, at least in my exposure. Do you think that, is there something to that, or is it high pressure for Japanese children to excel at music with some parents?
Yeah, some parents really wanted to, I don't know, how strict about education, also music, and some parents is thinking when their kids is really small, but the kids gonna have to be music, sing, so they really strict training. Yeah.
And it could be for other things too. There was in the New York Times magazine last week, there was a very long article about a young Japanese baseball player, and talked about his total life was baseball. He spent the summers at camps and all that.
Some parents and kids is like that.
Okay.
But my parents, no.
They weren't driven for you to be a professional violin player.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
But I was kids, I play a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you remember your first exposure to jazz music, hearing jazz for the first time?
Yeah, I was listening. I think 15 and 14 years old. I was listening. I was buying the Coltrane's album, but I totally not understand that music. But I was buying the CD, and also, yeah, some in the, and also I was going to the library and check out some jazz music. Yeah, it was like a 14 teenager, but not understand, just listening.
But you don't have to understand it to like it.
Right, but just it's cool,
Of course, when you pick out Coltrane too, that could be
Yeah,
a little overwhelming.
maybe the cover of the CD is cool. Maybe I don't know.
Sure. You're attracted by the look of it.
Yeah,
So, you didn't listen to violin players first?
the jazz.
Yeah.
Jazz later. Yeah, for jazz I was listening that time Coltrane and like Miles Davis, and then here's Stefan Grappelli. That's a jazz violin. So I tried to listen to that. And,
Did you like that kind of that era of music?
Yeah, I like Stefan Grappelli.
Yeah.
His tone and swing and music,
Right.
but not yeah.
Yeah. How did your parents feel about you going to the United States?
I have a brother and a sister. I have one older brother and I have a younger sister. And my brother is really regular, stable life. And he's not living together, but close to the parents' house. So he's doing good. So I can be free, kind of. So.
Good for that's
So,
nice that you had that. You can spread your wings.
So always my brother is kind of conservative. Like he's a boy, like a son. So he's always have a responsibility, but I'm second. So I always open the door. Going. Not innovative, but surviving something. So my parents used to my act like attitude. So okay. Yeah.
That's great.
Okay, New York. Okay.
And did you came to New York specifically to go to the new school?
My English still it's hard, but my English was so bad. So I was going to college. The name is St. Elizabeth in New Jersey, Morristown. St. Elizabeth.
Okay.
College of St. Elizabeth. I was studying English, just English in there for 1 year. It's in New Jersey, so I go to New York, by train for 1 hour. So, and I was there one year, and then transferred to the new school. And I graduated. Yeah, I studied in new school 2 years and a half.
Did you get a degree from there?
Yeah, I have degree in Japan and the new school.
Okay. Your degree was in classical violin?
And new school is jazz.
Okay. And that's where you met Junior?
Yeah.
Yeah. We have something in common that we both like the song Harlem Lullaby.
Right. It's nice.
Did I understand you played that with him the first time you met him? Is that not quite correct?
First time, what's happened? I just listened his Harlem Lullaby over and over, and first rehearsal, he and me and Junior and his home, and I tried it. I really listening, and I play same phrase Junior's played. Junior's solo. I tried Junior's solo, and he suddenly, that's my solo, and you should play your solo. Okay. So but just I learned that the song doesn't have a music, the sheet music. So I just listening his CD and just try what he played. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah. It's a really neat song. You give lessons?
From.
Do you give violin lessons?
I
You give them.
Them means
Do you have students?
oh, I'm teaching, but this is I don't teach jazz yet, but this time is the first time.
Oh, really?
The student, but I'm teaching the violin. Yeah, so
Okay.
far.
And, Hide said something about talking to parents,
Mm-hmm.
and they ask about their children. And do you have students ask you, about making a living
Oh,
in the music world? What's it like?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Sometimes ask me, can you make a life, as a musician, jazz musician? But yeah, so far I'm teaching and yeah, mostly I'm teaching and play.
Mm-hmm.
Just yeah.
Did you ever play on the street like Hide
Yeah,
did?
yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes.
Yeah. Well, you do what you have to do, I guess,
Yeah, if
To
nice
make a
weather,
living.
yeah.
as a musician.
Mm.
You didn't have aspirations to play in a symphony orchestra then?
Oh, I stopped. I did not play like 7 years, but last year my friends asked me to sub for the symphony. It was Beethoven something, I forgot the number, but I did not play 7 years in a symphony, but I try and I did it last year.
Mm.
Yeah. So, yeah, I did just so one time in New York. Yeah.
It seems to me to be such a different thing.
It's different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you're in a whole section of violin players.
Mm-hmm.
It's all supposed to sound very cohesive and like one big instrument, I guess.
Yeah. In a symphony, yeah, it's different. Mm-hmm.
What's your day-to-day? I asked Hide the same question. So a week for you can be various different things. You play other gigs, you have students.
Mm-hmm. And I like session. Jam session
Jam
is fine.
sessions.
And a home session, my friends ask me to come and play just session. I like that. And I really gonna have to practice. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And teaching, and sometimes I want to work on my body to exercise.
Uh-huh.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, here's a. I know the answer to this question, but is it expensive to live in New York?
But my area is not that much, and yeah, it's fine.
Okay. There's a professor here on campus who was writing a paper about women in jazz.
Nice.
Does it make a difference, do you think, that you're a woman playing jazz?
Yeah, I feel different sometimes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
How so?
I don't know, but even play with a woman is different. I don't know why. It's a woman. Sometimes always band member is man, right? Or
Yes.
kind of. But sometimes with the woman, I feel different and true attitudes to man musician to attitude, and the woman musician, I'm different. I feel different.
You
I
mean
don't know
if
why.
you're in a band and there's another woman?
Yeah, I feel different.
Wow.
I don't know why. Maybe more take care of her. I don't know. But different. It's different. Yeah.
I'm trying to imagine how it's different. You think the other woman might want to be the only woman in the band?
I don't know. But I'm not so much play with women. I don't have opportunity yet, but kind of different. I don't know why.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how.
Who are the violin players that you mentioned? Django, I mean, Stefan Grappelli. And anybody else that you particularly like on violin?
Staff Zumis, Christian
Smith.
Howes,
Uh-huh.
Leynans. Yeah.
Who's Christian Howes and
Leynans.
that's another.
That's the Ellington trumpeter also.
Oh, Ray Nance.
Ray Nance.
Of
Yeah.
course. Yeah, he played trumpet and violin.
Yeah.
And sang.
Yeah.
And what's the challenge with, you ever play the electric violins?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, good.
It's heavy and
It's heavier, huh?
yeah.
What do you notice about going around the world with Junior and how people react to jazz? Is it any different in different parts of the world?
That meaning is people's react.
Yes.
The violin is there and trio.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. People's kind of surprised, right? The regularly piano based drum, but in the violin has gold sound.
Mm-hmm.
But I think violin is. I think just violin is really sensitive instrument than compared than horn.
Mm-hmm.
And Junior is really blues style, right? But his style is blues, but his music is really sensitive and I don't know how, maybe sensitive. That point is kind of violin is mixed his blues and kind of sensitive. I don't know how I say. Not naive, but like kind of, yeah. Not always, going to power.
Yeah.
Always not that more,
Okay.
Sing, I don't know, sing. That's the,
More delicate.
yeah,
Yes.
I think so. Delicate. The point is good for the violin.
Yeah.
But not, that is a gypsy, it's not classic. This is the music, the trio is, even violin is comes with Junior, is the music not going to gypsy.
Yeah.
Classic, no,
Yeah.
it's kind of blues and jazz sound and delicate.
Can you recall the first time you heard about the blues? Like, what does this blues mean?
Feeling,
Yeah, the feeling and then the
rhythm
the
thing.
musical form that goes along with it.
Yeah, but rhythm and feeling and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and sing.
Well, how did you learn it?
Just listening.
Yeah.
Junior, I listen a lot. Junior and BB King, I listening.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, just listening. But sometimes I transcribe somebody's blues and learn, but mostly listening. Yeah.
What's the how do you make a violin swing?
It's also I gonna have to ask you somebody.
You have to what?
I gonna have to learn about the thing for myself. How to swing the violin. But that is the different things compared with classic music.
Yes.
But even classic music, people really swing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, but for the techniques things, mostly have to learn about the bowing. I think so. Yeah. Yeah.
Because to get the swing eighth note, da 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 da,
Mm-hmm.
what is the mechanics of that?
So far, I think if swing bow like this move, the tone is stopped. So gonna have to something slow.
Oh.
The horn section is more like smooth, like
Mm-hmm.
But if violin always, bow is like this, is not good,
You can't go back and forth as much.
Yeah, so something, kind of technique gotta have to learn. The slur, but not slur and staccato,
Mhm.
But I gotta have to learn.
Do you have advice for young musicians who want to pursue it as a career
For jazz, violin, or
in any way?
just listening and just trying to play great musician.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just learn from the great master, Just,
Right.
Yeah, and just I think getting good playing good. One thing is practice, right? One thing is this experience. Yeah.
A lot of people complain, well, how do I get experience?
Jam sessions,
Jam
just
sessions.
session, play with somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, play with somebody,
Yeah.
especially good musician. Yeah.
Yeah, I know Hide said that he was talking to some bass players last night, go to jam sessions. And
Yeah.
can those things become very competitive?
Jam session is competitive.
Jam sessions, yeah. Or are they mostly friendly?
A friendly,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Not competitive.
Okay.
No.
There was a term they called cutting contests,
Oh.
where people could sort of try to make their reputation by
Mm.
playing better than the other
Oh.
person, that kind of thing.
I'm not going not that kind of jam session. Just friendly, because it's really the music need to communication with the musician, right?
Mm-hmm.
So friendly is good.
Someone asked a question last night, a student, about the three of you improvising together. And I think people have a hard time understanding that most times when you're improvising, you're playing over a song form. Like most of you know where you are
Mm-mm.
in the song.
Mm.
Is
Yeah.
that your experience?
Yeah.
Okay. Because sometimes students can't follow it, or like, how do they know when to stop? How do they know when the bridge is coming? That kind of thing.
Just they have a form, so the song form,
Right.
like there is 32, right? Yeah, 32 bars, and
Mhm.
not always 32 bars,
Right.
but I know I always when am I playing? I know.
Do you like working without a drummer, or does it not matter to you?
I love drummer, and I need to feel more drum feeling. But this trio, Junior's great accompany, and the rhythm is real, and Hide is really great. This trio is fine,
Mm-hmm.
But always, I'm learning a lot of things from drummer, because the violin is hard to feel and show. I don't know. Play rhythm feel.
Rhythmically,
Yeah, rhythmically phrase, and so I really need to drummer feeling, and I learn from drummer a lot.
And do you get calls from other musicians to play gigs?
Sometimes.
What kind of gigs would they be?
I'm always, and sometimes I play with the string section. They can also improvise.
Oh.
And then, sometimes I play like harp. So I have a lot of opportunity to play with the jazz string player. Yeah. And sometimes my friend call me the gig, and sometimes play the session.
Yeah. I don't know if you can answer this question, but what's the average pay, the average money that musicians in New York expect to get these days?
To
I'm
leave amount?
Yes.
I don't know.
I mean, I
exactly.
know it varies from one thing to another, but
But rent, right? The room rent
yes.
and food, right?
Right.
And
But if someone called you up and said, I have a gig, it's like playing music for a wedding reception. What would you expect the money to be for that?
the amount?
The amount,
Okay.
yes.
I don't know. Wedding is sometimes. If wedding, maybe at least 100.
Yes.
200, 100, 200. Yeah.
Yeah.
In a wedding, yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And when you play in a jazz club,
It's up to the player because junior is always with play junior is always good amount.
Okay.
But other musician it depends.
it
Right?
depends.
So
Yeah.
right. So up to the musician.
Hide, I asked him about goals. I think you heard his answer. He said there's no goals in jazz.
Right. Yeah.
It's like one day to the next. And what about you? Do you have goals that you think I'd like to be doing this in a few years, or?
Not that. I don't have not that goal, but more small goal, and then no, I'm playing. Yeah, for example, I really more know a lot of tune, just things,
Mhm.
but not. That is not for the career. Just my ability.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to more know the tunes. Yeah. And I want to more hear this harmony things
Mhm.
from the piano or bass like that. That goal I always have, but I don't think about the goal of career. Yeah. More the practice way. You know.
Okay.
I wanna learn that tune more good, you know,
Right.
like that goal.
Yeah. Well, a lot of jazz musicians have found their way into, academia, teaching in colleges and so forth. Does that sound like, is that a goal of yours? To be like a professor?
Me?
Yes.
I don't know if I chance. I want to do anything, but for me, if I cannot, if my finger is stiff because I don't have a time to practice, that is for me getting really frustrated. And if I couldn't play in a session not good, I'm kind of frustrated. So, but if start practice, it's okay, right? But if get rid of the time, not good for me. So if getting professor, but always the point, the center is the ability going up. So it's if I can be a professor, it's fine. But the center is not teaching. Just
Oh, I understand what you're saying. The center is that you continue to be a good
play.
Good player, yeah.
But it's teaching is okay. But
No, that's a good way to put it.
yeah.
Because teaching, if you really get involved in teaching, it might take away from your
The student.
time and your effort and
Yeah.
the whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
There was a brief time, fusion music in the 70s. There was some electric violin players, the Mahavishnu Orchestra.
Hmm.
You're familiar with any of that music? Very electric,
Mm.
you know, the violin going through the
But I like Nigel Kennedy. You know Nigel Kennedy?
Nigel Kennedy.
Yeah, he's
Uh-huh.
he's playing electric and he's really master for the classic music. But I like his electric
Mhm.
music. But I don't. Yeah.
What's the club scene like in New York now? I know some of them are very expensive to
Mhm.
go to, like the Blue Note and so
Yeah.
forth. But I imagine there's other places that are easier for the public to afford, like Cafe Loop where you play.
Mhm.
They charge a cover.
No.
Well, they don't.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. And you play there every Sunday,
Mhm.
and you probably don't know what you're going to play when you get there. You just wait for Junior to say something.
Right. Yeah.
Sometimes when I'm on a gig, I wish I was keeping notes. Like if someone asked me to play something and I didn't know it, that I should write it down.
Mm.
And that week I should make my business to learn it.
Me too sometimes.
Yeah.
I ask Hide, what are the changes that one,
Mhm.
Even Hide said he don't know. What? Because he's listening in and, play there. After finish the song, you don't know.
Yeah, I don't know how I got through it. Right.
Right.
It's
Ask Junior. Finally, I took the video and Junior played it in a rehearsal. Junior also don't say it, just playing and listening. So finally, I took the video and got home and what I did.
You looked at his hands?
Yeah, the video.
You looked at his hands from a video to see what chords he was playing.
Yeah, and always I'm playing behind Junior, so I always sing the piano.
Oh,
It's
that
good.
is
It's
very
good.
interesting.
My ear training and good training.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So
Because sometimes the bass player used to do that too. Where they
Oh,
look at the
maybe,
piano
yeah.
player's left hand,
yeah, I'm also
But,
watching the left
yes.
hand, and
But
that's
usually the bass player's got to know those changes, 'cause
yeah.
that's where it starts.
Hmm.
Very interesting.
Yeah, I'm getting habit to, if different piano player, but I'm always getting habit to watch the piano the hand. So if not Junior, I'm always some piano player. You get away this, you play there.
What's it like to go back to Japan now and play?
Yeah, we went back last year
Mhm.
with Junior.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. Hmm.
Did your family come out to see you?
Yeah, that's nice.
That's good. Well, it's been a pleasure having you here in Hamilton, and I look forward to your
Thank you.
concert tonight.
Thanks.
Do you ever have to, does Junior make you speak to the audience?
Mm-mm.
No?
Even Junior not so much speak in the audience, so.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And you've been on 2 or 3 recordings with him now already, I think?
I think so,
Yeah.
maybe.
How's it different playing, and is it any different playing in the studio? Or maybe there were live recordings.
Yeah, with Junior, it's 3 of us, it's live,
Right.
yeah.
Does it make you more nervous to have
Yeah,
these mics?
yeah, I was, yeah.
Yeah. Probably think more about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay. Well, thanks for your time today.
thank
It's been a
you.
real pleasure.
Okay.